welcome back. Sorry for this lighting. I'm using the natural light right now and I'm a little shadowy. But today thought I would do the mid-year freak out book tag. I'm surrounded by piles of books right now to talk about, but let's just jump right into it. So, question number 1, best book I've read thus far in 2021. I've given out few 5 stars. So I suppose, I guess we can say that these 3 have been in my tops thus far. We've got House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin Craig. This is following Sister Anna Lee and her, I believe, 6 other sisters who believe that their family might be cursed because what started as 12 sisters, they've slowly been dying and they believe that their family is cursed, and slowly they're kind of solving a mystery. This book is dark and spooky but oceanic and beautiful. Such an adventure, such a ride. I really enjoyed this. It got me back into reading excitedly and back into my love of fantasy. Next, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Yep, I loved it. I think everybody has been talking about this book. I listened to the audiobook, which is incredible, 1000% recommend, and ended up purchasing the book because I thought it was that good. This is following our main character, Linus, who is basically like a child protective, he goes around to orphanages, magical orphanages, to make sure that they are basically up to code and keeping the kids safe and healthy and happy. And he gets sent out to this special little orphanage that is for the most dangerous of the children, and basically it is just his adventure. I loved it. I've heard so many mixed reviews, but it was everything that I needed. It was very light and fantasy, and it wasn't too dramatic. It was just gentle and nice. And then finally, I have The Empire of Dreams by Ray Carson. This is technically the 4th book in some trilogy. Obviously, I haven't read it. I didn't realize that this was part of the series, but I read it as a standalone, and it was great. This is about Red, who is a separate character from the trilogy, but I guess was loved so dear that she got a spin-off book. Basically, she is orphaned as a child, and she has magical abilities and is taken in by the royal family. And basically, she wants to prove herself. She doesn't end up getting adopted, and due to that, I feel like that might spoil. I don't know. Spoilers? I don't know. So, after the adoption falls through, she decides to She decides to join the Empire, and she goes to training. And while she is in training, she's learning that there is corruption and a plot against the kingdom, and she is basically trying to save the world. It's great. I really enjoyed this. I'm really hoping to pick up the rest of the series and read it through properly. Alright, and the second question is best sequel that I have read. I've only read 2 sequels, and it was back to back with the original, or the first book in the series. So I think I'm gonna go with The Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller. It was fine. I gave it 4 stars. It was a nice, enjoyable ride. I like the story. I like how it concluded. It wrapped up well. It was a fun, lighthearted read. Releases you haven't read yet. So many. So many. The ones that I've picked out, oh my goodness, heavy books, would be these 3. On top here we have Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to be getting this next month in August. I also have Witches Steeped in Gold by Sion and Smart. Smart is what I couldn't read. Sion and Smart. I got this in my owl crate and it is stunning. I'm in love with it. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great adventure. It is a bit of a beast compared to some other books that I have. And then finally, The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joanne He. And this is a sci-fi, which I'm not super versed in sci-fi, so I'm kind of excited for that. I have so far heard mixed reviews on if people are liking this or not, so I'm excited to give this a shot. Next question is most anticipated release of the second half of the year. There's a lot. There are so many books coming out and I'm trying to keep on top of them and it's impossible. But Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber is one that has been on my radar. You can't see it, it's way up there, but the Caraval series is one of my favorites. I'm trying to get Austin to read it with me. It's really good, so I'm looking forward to her next work. Next question is biggest disappointment. Unfortunately, it was Stolen Times by Daniel Rollins. I thought I was really going to enjoy this. This is about... oh, it's been a bit. So this is about a girl named Dorothy who gets swept away with this boy Ash and his time machine, and she goes to the future, and it is basically just her adventure seeing the collapse of Seattle, Washington after multiple earthquakes and discovering the truth behind them. And I listened to I tried reading this and I couldn't get into it, but I was reading this for the buzzword reading challenge, and so I really needed to finish it, so I picked up the audiobook. I listened to all 3 books in the month of, I believe, April, and I just wanted them to end. It wasn't necessarily that it was bad, I just was getting a little confused. It was becoming really repetitive over the series and I just wasn't having that much fun with it. I don't know if time travel is necessarily the books for me. I think for the next question, biggest surprise, none of them have necessarily knocked my socks off, but I guess I could go with Anne of Green Gables by M.L. Montgomery. I saw Anne with an E, didn't know that it was based off Anne of Green Gables, really enjoyed it. This is following Anne with an E and her life as she gets adopted and basically just romanticizing life. She's an extremely intelligent and interesting character. I loved everything about her. I definitely would recommend if you haven't checked it out. But yeah, I like that far more than I thought I would. Next question is new favorite author, and we're going to be back to House of Salt and Sorrows. Erin Craig. I loved her writing. I have added all of her short story collections that she's done with other authors to my shelf. I'm keeping my eye on her. I'm so excited to see what more is to come because I really enjoyed her writing style in this. The next question also is kind of about this newest fictional crush. I don't necessarily get fictional crushes, but if I was to get one out of all of the books that I've read this year, Cassius. I don't love what she did with him towards like the end of the book, but overall he's a good guy. He is cute, he got curly hair, he's dreamy, he's just nice. The standards are really low in books. Next question is newest fictional character for this. I have 2. One being Elatsaway by Darcy Little Badger. Oh, I love Elatsaway. She is incredible. She is such a character. This is following an indigenous girl whose cousin is killed in a car accident, and she has this ability to see ghosts and bring ghosts back to life, though she remains from doing it from humans because they're very angry and dangerous. But she does bring her dog back alive, Kirby, and I love Kirby. I would die for Kirby. But yeah, basically we're following the Elatsaway who's trying to figure out her cousin's death and what actually happened and went down. It was an adventure. It was a murder mystery. There's ghosts, there's vampires. It's just so good. Highly recommend. And the other character that I'm loving is August from One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. But yeah, One Last Stop. August. She's so good. She's so funny. She's quirky. She's cute. I haven't finished the story yet, so I don't want to pitch the plot so far. I'm halfway, and we're following August as she moves to New York, and she takes the subway a lot, the Q, and she meets this girl Jane, and she tries to figure out more about Jane and has a little bit of a crush, and it's really adorable. I'm really enjoying it so far. Next question is books that made you cry. None. I haven't read a very like emotional, impactful book just yet. I'm hoping to. There's still 6 more months in the year, but so far nothing has quite gotten me there. Next question is book that has made you happy. All of them. I've really enjoyed reading, but I think House in the Cerulean Sea has probably made me the most happy. House in the Cerulean Sea has probably made me the happiest while listening to the audiobook. I was just like pure joy, just childish happiness, just excited and having fun. So I think I'm gonna give it up to this one. Next question is most beautiful book that you have either received or purchased. I'm gonna do both of these. For purchased, we've got Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. You can't see exactly because of the light, but oh, I know this isn't like this is the Penguins, Puffins in Bloom collection. Oh, but I love this edition. I saw it and I just had to have it. So I'm hoping to read this hopefully this year, but it's pretty big, so maybe next year. An honorable mention to both of these ones from Owl Crate. I already showed you this, but just, I think as you can tell, I'm a sucker for gold foiling or silver foiling or any metallic shine on a book. And then also the ones we're meant to find, just because wow. Yeah, so much wow. As for the books that I need to read this year, so many, so many. There is the finishing 6 months, yet only 3 have been announced so far for the Literally Dead book club. Survivors of the Night, All's Well, and there's another one, but I'm a little less interested in that. But All's Well is definitely up there. As well as all of my picks for the Buzzword Readathon or reading challenge that I'm doing. I've had those all set in stone for a while, so lots of books to go through. And then honorable mentions, again, I will go through these quick. We've got Phantom of the Opera, Giovanni's Room, The Great Gatsby, finishing The Picture of Dorian Gray. I am taking my sweet time with this book. And then shifting gears a little bit, The Midnight Library. There you have it. The final question is favorite movie adaptation you've seen. I have yet to see any this year. I have been reading too much, haven't been watching enough movies or TV. And when I do watch TV, it's just reruns of Criminal Minds. So that is it for the book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe picked out a couple books you might want to read. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.